Today is Daily Cyber number 45. If you've been watching the Canadian news, you know that over the last couple of days, or a while actually, I think it was published on March 15th, the three Russians got arrested. I think it was four now for hacking Yahoo, and there's a whole kind of backstory about potentially it's with the Russian spies and so forth, and you really take a look and research it. It's really interesting because you're seeing this one gentleman, Kazakov, is someone that has been here, had lots of money, nice cars, house, whatever, kind of living the extravagant lifestyle, and his neighbors and all that. People kind of was wondering, like, what is he doing? You know, I guess they were assuming that it was in an internet business or anything along that line, and he ended up being a hacker. And from what you can read and kind of getting the news reports, and I mean, I think you always take that news with a grain of salt, but supposedly it's from the Russia coming across, like there is some sort of Russian agency that was influence him to hack Yahoo and so forth. So it's kind of this almost like a movie type scenario where you're like all this espionage and challenges going on. But what I really want to show today is these things are starting to happen in real time. What you're seeing in movies and these conspiracies and things like that are actually happening. You're seeing it in the news now. And this has been happening behind the scenes for years and years and years. And as I'm starting to study cybersecurity, you hear about more and more. But you realize that, like, how true it is. Now, how do I bring that down to the common user? Okay, Brandon, so what? You know, I have a Yahoo account. You know, why do I have to worry about this? Or I have a Gmail account. Well, you're looking at these guys, these hackers, hacked, and I don't remember the exact number. I think it was 1 million or so accounts. Might have been even more. Sorry, 500 million user accounts. So hacked 500 million Yahoo user accounts. So you think there's 1 billion people on Facebook. So I don't know how many people are on Yahoo, but 500 million, that's a large, could be, and I'm not going to speculate, but it could be a large portion, up to maybe 80%, if not maybe all, I'm not sure. But if they got access to their backend, their database and so forth, who knows, right? They haven't really kind of released how deep they went into the Yahoo system. But this shows exactly what I talk about at the end of each video. Software is hackable, being connected is vulnerable, and why we need to protect everything that we're doing, because the companies that we're working with, Yahoo, you know, Gmail, like Google, all are doing their best to stay protected, but then you see there's backdoors, vulnerabilities, you know, areas where they get compromised, which then compromises us as users. So the more secure that we can be in the things that we're doing, just give you some tips. Right? Making sure you have a secure password policy, that you have different passwords for each social network, each email address, each website. If you do e-commerce shopping, each of those are separate passwords, right? And it's something that you do not remember. Don't put your dog's name, I'm going to say Toto01, Toto02. Don't do that. Go to a password generator, generate a password, at least 15 characters long in length. Make sure it's very complicated. And sometimes what I do to make my passwords even more complicated is I'll take that password, I'll copy in a note, and I'll change some of the characters. Right? I'll change some of the characters from letters to numbers and special characters, just to make it extremely difficult. And then what happens is I copy that and I paste that into a secure area where I have another password. So I layer up my security, and I have different passwords. I have different areas. So if someone compromises me and they get access to one area, they might get, you know, a couple of my social sites, but they won't get access to maybe some shopping websites I go to, because that's in a different file, a different area, and a different password protecting that. And then what I do is I encrypt it. So I password protect it and I encrypt it. And all these layers, and you're like, oh my God, that's like just crazy. How am I supposed to get into anything? Well, the reason why I do that is because I'm seeing these things that are happening now and going, okay, how secure do I want them to be? Now, if you have a social network and it's 1,000 or 5,000 above, and you're connecting with people and building your business and relationship, or if it's family and friends and you really want to keep it secure, you're going to take this level of precaution. If it's your bank account, trust me, you want to take this level of precaution, because what happens is if someone gets access to your bank account, they could wipe you out. And last week I dealt with identity theft, not myself, but with a client. And seeing how someone could go into the bank with fake ID to a teller who maybe is not paying attention and get access to your account because they copied your identity, they did something along that line. It's not out of the norm. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm bringing up this news article. It's not out of the norm. It's not something that's like, oh, Brandon, that never does happen. Talk to your local, police agency and ask them, is this really true? Like, does this really happen? And they're going to tell you yes. Right? When I talked to the officer when I was helping my client, I said, okay, look, is this, just kind of give me an idea. Like, is this really happening? What's the scope of this? And they're like, it's more common than you know. Right? And when we don't publicize it, we don't do it because we don't want to show that, the compromised are out there. But it's more common. We're getting more common reports of cybersecurity attacks, identity theft, compromises on sites and stuff. And they're like, a lot of times we're underpowered. There's nothing we can do, right? They have to report to their bank or Equifax or something along that line. They make a report to the police. Hopefully we can, make a report and do for something for identity theft. But there's not much we can do. So you're kind of sitting there going, oh my God. And then going back to this article and talking about with this Russia, you can see even with Russia, the laws of hackers across in different countries, there's no, there's going to be very little or nothing that the U.S. Department of Defense is going to be able to do, because there's no extradition charges or treaty between them. So the hackers in Russia are not going to be able to transfer over. Now, the one in Canada, he's messed up. He's screwed, right? He's going to be probably sent to the U.S. and he'll spend 15 to 25 years in a federal penitentiary for what he's done. Or, as we've seen, and I'm just speculating here, he might get hired by one of the acronyms, right? The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, like anything like that, because they know he has the skills and they can, utilize that for what they need. A lot of crazy stuff going on. I know I'm kind of ranting about this, but something we really want to think about. And this is why I do these videos. This is why I keep talking about it. This is why I'm on this journey, is to learn from myself about, cybersecurity. And as you can tell, I have a passion about it. But also, as I'm learning, I'm talking about it. I'm telling you guys so that you can stay protected. Because if you're not protected, what's going to happen? You're going to get compromised and you're going to, flip out and lose it, which I did a video, I guess it was 3 weeks ago, the emotional effects on being compromised, right, or being hacked. And you see how fast people get into this state, and it's relative to, someone breaking into your house. You feel violated. Oh my God, what do I do? How do I protect myself? And it's this big entity that you don't know. Are they going to get in this way? Are they going to get that way? Are they going to get in the window? Are they going to get in the door? Are they going to do this or that? Well, when it's cybersecurity, like, oh my God, is my identity safe? Is my account safe? Is my kid safe? Is my business safe? Is my client safe? You always think that. Now you get all panicky and you're worried and you're in this fear state. That is why you have to make sure that you do your due diligence, your risk analysis, you assess your situation, be it your mobile phone, your Internet of Things, all these different devices, and you secure them. And if you don't know how to secure them, that's a point where you're like, okay, I got to find out how. I got to secure these. And keep going. It's not this one-off, one-time thing where you're sitting there going, okay, you know what? I set up a password for that. I'll set it and forget it. It's not that way. What it is now is that if you set something up, you set up a password, you have to change the password every, I would say, 4 weeks minimum, right? 4 weeks is a good kind of benchmark. Keep resetting your passwords, right? Changing it. And changing is something different. Don't, like I said, don't add a character at the end or 01. Completely change it, right? Because that will keep you more secure. So that's it for my video. I can see it's coming up on 10 minutes. Just remember, if you have any questions, let me know. Comment below. I'm here to help. And just keep this in your mind. Software is hackable. Being connected is vulnerable. I'll see you tomorrow.